how do you explain the fact that there aren't many Jews, many American Jews that have spoken up after October 7th? I mean, are they afraid?
I call them capos. That's very mean, but that's how I feel. Like, actually, I don't feel mean saying it. If you're a Jew and you don't speak up for other Jews, you're a capo. Like, you're siding with the Nazis here. Because they hate you as much as they hate me, whether you spoke out or not. That's the reality. If you're a Jew, you're a Jew. They don't ask you what kind of Jew, if you support Israel. It started with Israel now, and now you're a Jew.
אמילי אוסטין היא מגישת טלוויזיה אמריקאית, שדרית ספורט, דוגמנית ופעילה חברתית. מה-7 באוקטובר הפכה גם למשפיענית ברשת, שעושה המון הסברה לישראל. ישבתי איתה לשיחה צפופה.
Emily Austin, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Such an honor. You're an activist, a news anchor, a reporter, so many things. Also, doing a lot of advocacy for Israel in the past year. So yes. Thank you, first of all, for that. I don't even know what to start with, but let's start with with the heart spot, that warm spot that you have for Israel. Wow. and what you've been through in this recent year after October 7th. Can you tell me the journey that you've been through on all the recent activities?
Yeah, I mean, my soft spot for Israel is, growing up as an American, but my parents are actually born in Israel, raised in America, and my grandparents are like, they talk like this forever, Israeli, and they live in Brooklyn for like 100 years. So every summer, as a kid, we would come to Israel and, chof metzitzim, matkot, schnitzel, sheshbesh, like, it was fun. It was always like a vacation spot. To me, Aruba, Jamaica, Israel, same thing. It's just vacation. And I never understood the controversy because I'm a kid. Now I turned 14, I was 13, so it was 2014, and all of a sudden I'm in the beach, and I hear sirens, and I have no clue what's going on. And all of a sudden everyone's screaming, running, I start crying, I don't know what to do. And my mom is explaining to me that from Gaza, they're sending rockets into Israel. And I said, why? She's like, there's a war. I'm like, so target the army. Like, I'm in the beach right now. What do I have to run to a shelter every 5 minutes? And that war went on all summer. Non-stop rockets. I couldn't go back to America. I wanted to leave. It was so traumatizing as a kid. And I didn't know about the Iron Dome. So I'm like, oh my God, so many people die every single day, which is another hypocrisy I want to point out. They talk about innocent civilian targeting. Imagine we didn't have the Iron Dome. There'd be no Jews left. Like, everybody would be dead. They target everyone and everything, and elderly, babies, doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's how I grew up. Now, when I got older and I got to college, I started my social media in college. So I already had like a good following at a young age. And it was Yom HaAtzmaut. And like I always did, we do like a big Israel day in the house and cupcakes and flags. And I posted it for the first time. I had social media. I got social media very late. And my favorite basketball player DM'd me. He's like a legend in the NBA. He said, I can't believe you support a racist state. And I said, racist? Like, wow. Have you been there? Because, like, again, I didn't know the politics of it. I said, there's so many black people. Well, racist. Like, there's black people everywhere in Israel. He said, no, they don't let black people in. It's apartheid. I didn't even know what apartheid meant. I'm like 17, 18. Colonialism, all these buzzwords. And so I started Googling and I said, but that's not true. Like, I've been there. You haven't. And you're telling me what the country does to black. Like, it's outrageous. And that was one person that I knew, but my DMs were crazy, like hating me for supporting Israel. And that was really like nothing compared to what happened after October 7th. This was during Black Lives Matter. Remember they sent rockets again, Gaza into Israel? That's when it all started. Now, also at a young age, I achieved all my dreams. Like I was going to get an NBA show in September, pre-October 7th, ambassador for Puma, speaking, like I really accomplished everything I ever wanted to do. Like my goal I hit at 22 years old. It's insane.
You're only 23. We need to tell that to the viewers. Like, I'm shocked with your accomplishments in such a young age.
I started young. Like I knew what I wanted to do for a long time. So having everything and then having October 7th happen, it's almost like nothing matters anymore. So on October 7th at night or the 8th in the morning, I just put out a video. I had like over 1 million followers on Instagram. And just like from the heart, it was talking about how devastated I was that A, that this happened, and B, Israel could let it happen, and C, that barbarians could do something like this and post it. Like, how could you? Even the Nazis tried to hide their crimes. And in my mind, there was 0% chance that anybody would disagree with what I said. Like, there's nothing to disagree with unless you love killing people. And majority of the country disagreed. They said, how could you stand with Israel? Basically, they said, in other words, what happened on October 7th was deserved. And at the time, I was a judge for Miss Universe. Youngest judge in Miss Universe history. It was big, big, big news. And I reached out to the organization. I said, we have to condemn the rape. Like, we're a women's group. We preach to stand for women, by women. We have to say something. And they said, no, it's too political. We can't. I said, don't say I love Israel. Just say we condemn the rape that Hamas did on October 7th. You don't even have to say the word Israel. Nope, too political. We don't want to. So I take a scroll through their Instagram and I saw, we condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I said, that's very political to me. They said, actually, they didn't answer. I have the text. She never answered me. Question mark, no answer. Hello, no answer. The silence is deafening. The silence shows you're complicit, no answer. I go on Fox News. I rip them apart. They said, don't ever reach out to me or the organization ever again. And find out the CEO is Jewish. The one I've been texting was Jewish.
Wow. I
said, how could you just become a traitor like that to your people? So basically, the point of the story is... By the way,
it's the same as the silence of the women's organizations around the world.
Yeah.
The UN kept silence for months until they recognized the rape.
It was bad. It was so... You just felt like... It put me in a mentality that it's not like me. Like, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a warrior. Like, I want to be a mom. And, like, I want to live a normal girly life. And it forced me to become, like, can't say a soldier. You were a soldier, but, like, a social soldier. And I became very, like, combative, always fighting with people because people actually believe, like, you don't have a right to exist. Like, we do as much as you do. So now imagine being 22, you achieve all your dreams, and then everything gets taken away from you because you're political. Why am I political? Because I stand by Israel, and I believe Israel has a right to exist. Period. Dead stop. There's no convincing me otherwise. So I lost everything. Now I'm 22, unemployed, thinking I'm never going to get hired again. I'm like, my life is already over, and it just started. What do I do? And at that point, I spent the whole year just already taking my followers and just doing what's now I know is called like hasbara, just explaining the reality of the war. When one door shuts, another door opens. I got the best job on the planet. I work for a sports broadcast network called DAZN, D-A-Z-N. They're international. So now I work in Ireland, the UK, Saudi Arabia, even Qatar they sent me once, like every country in the world. So now I have more eyes and ears listening to me, and they gave me a bigger platform to change mine. So like,
incredible.
Everywhere I go, you influence someone else.
How do you explain the fact that there aren't many Jews, many American Jews that have spoken up after October 7th? I mean, there are I can count on one hand the number of well-known Jews that spoke for Israel, that came to Israel after October 7th. You know, we mentioned Micah Rappaport and a few others, but there are so many who are just, keeping silence.
I don't want to be too mean right now.
Are they afraid?
I call them capos. That's very mean, but that's how I feel. Like, actually, I don't feel mean saying it. If you're a Jew and you don't speak up for other Jews, you're a capo. Like, you're siding with the Nazis here. Because they hate you as much as they hate me, whether you spoke out or not. That's the reality. If you're a Jew, you're a Jew. They don't ask you what kind of Jew. If you support Israel, it started with Israel now, and now you're a Jew. Keep in mind, that's how it started. It was an excuse. We could take Mark Cuban as an example. He was ripping me apart for voting for Trump. Every day, Trump this, Trump that. Trump derangement syndrome, mamash. And I told him enough. I have it in my DMs. I said, enough Trump. Why don't you speak up for the Jews? I don't want to hear your lecturing about Trump. I want to hear why you're a silent Jew. He's so silent. I hear some Jews say, oh, Mark Cuban's Jewish? And I'm like, yeah, I thought everybody knew that. Oh, everything I say gets misconstrued anyway. Okay, so you're not going to speak up? Like, I don't understand. People did come out. Robert Kraft, Michael Rappaport, Ben Stiller, silence. Gal Gadot's doing her part. Everyone's so mean to her. I don't know why. She's amazing. But really, I could also count on my hand. Like, celebrities that sit up, Jonah Platt. That's it. I can't name you anymore. And it's like in my mind, I
Jerry
know
Seinfeld.
Jerry's amazing. Yeah. Wow, him and his wife are phenomenal people. They believe the following, and I confront them to their face. I don't give a shit. I'll embarrass them in front of people. And they say, oh, they don't listen anyway. I'll give money behind the scenes, but they don't understand their money's not going to help right now. It helps the soldiers, but we need people to normalize Zionism. Make it seem like it's not an option, like we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. You just need to normalize being Jewish in America. and not to play this victim silent.
Do you think in a way maybe Israel also did a bad job in advocating, in explaining the conflict?
No, I don't think it's Israel's job.
We ourselves are now criticizing ourselves in understanding who the enemy is. For so many years we used to think we could achieve peace. Maybe the Palestinians, we can reach some sort of an agreement with the Palestinians up until the 90s. And I think maybe only after October 7th, people really truly understood what is happening in the Gaza Strip. What is the average Gazan citizen think about us? It's something that most Israelis didn't really dealt with.
It's shocking to hear that. Like my Saba was in both wars actually, and seems like he knew who he was dealing with. From an American perspective, like I can only speak on my behalf. I don't believe Israel owes anyone any explanation for anything. You're in a war, you win the damn war, and then you worry about everything else. Your identity, your country is on the line. Don't waste your time with Hasbara. Nobody cares. Nobody feels bad for you, and you're always going to be the bad guy no matter how many times you explain the reality. I follow Daniel Hagari. I'm like, how do people disagree? This is the fact. He's tweeting it. America will never feel bad for you, and the Israelis won't feel bad for you. So win the war and don't worry about anything else. Donald Trump right now, everything he does, I say amen. I don't question it. We put him in power. I'm going to let him do his job. If he's bad, we'll worry about it later. What the Israelis need to focus on, and trust me, I'm telling you as an American who's watching this from the outside, stop with these stupid protests in the street, dividing each other. You don't know. I can tell you from an Arab perspective. I work in Saudi Arabia. We look like fools. We look like cows, we look like cattle that are easy to slaughter. That's what we look like from the outside. You don't see it from the inside. Americans, we don't see ourselves from the inside. We look like Canada laughs at us. Like, we have our problems too. So listen to me when I tell you that the more divided you are, like, we look foolish and 100%. We look weak and we look vulnerable. And it's like, I know that you're frustrated and I empathize with it, especially the families of the hostages. I'll never tell them not to protest. Do what you need to do, fine. But everyone else, like, it's just, the hostages said it. Mm-hmm. You're making Hamas happy. I was in Saudi Arabia and I'm talking to a good friend. He's Muslim and he's successful and he's powerful. And he told me, he's like, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but no one else seems to be saying it. In our religion, the Jews are always the one that God gives them everything and they destroy it themselves. And I said, Imale, he's right. I said, he's right. He said, you're the chosen ones that always go against everything that's meant for you. The land is, you believe Israel's yours? Fight for it. But also remember that who we're fighting against. Mm-hmm. Like, so many people want to see us really a genocide. Like, really, people always say Hitler didn't finish the job. And we're fighting, oh, you voted for, oh, you don't like Bibi. Oh, you like Bibi. You're left wing, you're right wing. We're killing each other when there's people who are celebrating us fighting each other. We have to remember, like, who's the enemy, who's on the same side.
Yeah.
The Jew on Jew hate, it's embarrassing. It's really, really embarrassing.
Yeah. Do you see any change in the upcoming years for Israel and for the region? Because at the end of the day, and we were talking about it a bit about my book, Pay for Slay, about the fact that the Palestinians are being taught from young age to aid Jews, being paid salaries. Every terrorist who is murdering a Jew is getting paid. And Trump was passing the Taylor Force law in 2018, trying to prevent money from going to the Palestinians as long as they're paying terrorists. How do you see the situation or the future here even changing when the next generation is being taught to do the same?
So first of all, I want you to know, in America, if you're not Jewish, you don't know what pay for slay is, pay to slay. So like, if you go to a random person in the street and you say, do you know the Palestinians pay kids, adults, terrorists to go kill Jews and they make so much money? They'll be like, no, that's not true. But it is the reality. And my answer to that problem, without oversimplifying it, is listen, like, if the UAE could do it, they could do it. If Saudi Arabia could do it, Gaza could do it, but they don't want to. So that's why Bibi's job right now, and Bibi's doing the whole world a favor, get rid of Hamas. You don't have to like Bibi to acknowledge Hamas is a problem. And if he's the one that has the burden of having to deal with them, then let him get the job done. And then you want to put him in jail after, that's your problem. But let him do his job right now.
What do you think about Trump's idea, the immigration plan? Is it going to work?
Of course. Today there was 0 people trying to cross the border. 0 border crosses today. That's the first time in 5 years I ever heard the word.
And about his immigration plan to Gaza.
Oh, that's BS. He doesn't want Gaza. Nobody wants Gaza. Trump, he's a genius. He said, oh, I'm going to take Gaza. Suddenly Saudi's like, oh no, UAE, Egypt. Suddenly now everybody wants it. What we need in Gaza is almost like a coalition. We need to coddle Gaza right now. Like, get rid of the bad problem. Truth, and I'm probably going to get canceled for this. The Palestinians there, I don't want to say that they're bad people because we were discussing this. They're victims of what you're taught. You are what you're taught. Now, if all the Palestinians in Gaza are taught to hate Jews, how do they know otherwise? Like, I literally met Mossab, the son of Hamas. And he said if I had to, like, grow up in Gaza and be, he was in Ramallah, and be indoctrinated, I would hate Jews too. But I left the bubble. But how many people get to leave the bubble? They don't. So we need to get rid of the problem, A. That's a national security threat. B, I think Saudi, UAE, the westernizing countries in the Middle East need to come in and say, listen, you can't be trusted. We tried it, 2005, epic failure. Let's hold on to you and, like, with a short leash, make sure Hamas is completely gone. This generation is doomed. Now, I'm not saying kill them all. That's not what I'm saying. But do they hate Jews for the rest of their life? Absolutely. But the next generation now needs to be taught that, hey, you know, murdering people is actually not normal. Even if you disagree with them, even if they're a different religion, like, it's not normal to murder people.
Yeah.
And the UAE has done a fantastic job. Saudi Arabia, I walk around khufshi like this. I dress, like, respectful. I don't cover. They respect my religion. I respect them. I did Yom Kippur in Saudi Arabia. Like, they're really, like, just cracking down on normalcy. And that has to happen in the Gaza Strip. By the way, not just Gaza. I went to East Jerusalem yesterday. They don't like Jews more. Like, they don't like Jews. And I feel bad for them. On one hand, I'm like, I know if I turn my back, you're literally going to stab me. But on the other hand, I know that you were taught this way. So it's like, do you feel bad for them even though they're going to kill you? It's a weird problem. In America, we don't have this problem.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about yourself. Most of the people your age are now in college, in university, working on their degree. How did you accomplish so much by the age of 23? And did your parents ever told you, live an easy life, you're still young? Why do you need all this hassle and headache? The opposite.
You're young. It's your time to do it now. It's now or never. Okay. You're going to have all the energy in the world. And they're right.
Where's the drive come from?
Natalie Austin. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not joking. My mom. So during COVID, it was just like a weird period because in America, we locked down for a long time. We didn't have Zoom right away either. So when they canceled my college, they canceled it. It wasn't like a temporary shutdown. It was like, see you next year. So I had two options. I could watch The Vampire Diaries for the 100th time, or I could try to think about my life. And like I told you off camera, I was studying medicine at the time. So I was like really thinking, okay, if I do medicine, I'll graduate med school and I'm like 30, and then I'll start fellowships and residency. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna have a life till I'm 35. Like I can't do that. I want kids. I want to live a life. And I had to think, like, my whole life I thought I was gonna be a surgeon. So what do I do now? And during COVID, it gave me the free time to think about, okay, I'm good at talking. People like to listen. Cute, you know? I said journalism is a great career. I just didn't know how to start. I don't have a famous parent. I don't have connections in the industry. I really had to start from like ground zero. And during COVID, it was easy because everyone was on their phone. Not one person was doing anything offline during COVID. So starting the Instagram lives and then inviting the basketball players on from all the Knicks games I went to and familiarizing myself really launched me into the spotlight because, like, now if you do an Instagram live, I don't care how famous you are, nobody joins. But during COVID, I, who had no platform, I had 70,000 people join my live. Like, it's insane. So the saturation was there. There was a high demand for connection because we all missed, like, talking to one another, and social media was the way to go. And then by the time it ended.
And then fast forward to a few years into this year, you're finding yourself standing in the White House, taking a picture with Donald Trump and his entire team, basically.
Yeah. His cabinet's amazing, first of all. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is like one of my closest friends. I love him. He's always supporting Israel before it was, you know, during its controversy, before it, he's just amazing. And Trump, listen, like, before it was cool, I put my career on the line to go make sure that he wins this election for humanity's sake. And I joined Jews for Trump, Women for Trump. I go to Mar-a-Lago for events, and you familiarize yourself. Like, all of the Trumps basically follow me on social media. I'm friends with his kids now. So it was nice. And then he invited me to the White House. It was J.D. Vance who invited me and 5 others, just literally 6 people. And when we got there, we didn't really understand why we were invited. But if the president invites you, you go. And they said, we wanted to thank you because we don't think we would have won the election without you. And we just wanted to give you like a tour and a warm welcome and like anything you need from us. Here's our number, like questions. I texted them this morning. I said, guys, why am I in Israel and I'm hearing like Trump wants to start a war with Iran? So then the White House sends me an official thing like Trump said this, if you want to talk to him. I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy. But the Israelis should know this. When I had a couple of minutes with Trump just alone, 1-to-1, he gave me a challenge coin. He gave me a pen. Bobby Kennedy was there, JD. And they said, listen, America first. I love America. You're the best person ever for the country. But as an Israeli, I want you to know that I appreciate you. And I really, really appreciate what you're doing for the hostages. And you could tell he was happy. Like he was touched. And he said, Emily, I want to tell you one thing. As long as I'm sitting in this office, Israel's in good hands. I promise you that. And I was like, I trust you. He goes, no, but only if I'm here. And I said, no, I know. Trust me on that. And he said, we'll take care of you guys. And I said, I have no doubt. And then 2 days later, he met Eli Sharabi.
Wow.
So I do trust him.
And how do you explain that, let's say, 80% of the Jews in America are basically Democrats?
I was going to say a word that would have got me canceled.
You're in Israel. You can say whatever you want.
Not this one. Trying to think if I ever had a conversation with a Jewish Democrat that wasn't just like a few celebrities I spoke to that are like Democrats said, oh, well, if Trump wins, you're in his corner. But if Kamala wins, who's going to be in her corner? And I get that argument. But there's only a percentage that are popular enough to be in a government position. So to like regular Jewish voters, my only explanation is Trump derangement syndrome. Because Kamala, I don't care how much you hate Trump, she wasn't a good candidate. Name me one policy she had other than Starbucks needs to change their lid color so my lipstick stains don't get on it. Kamala has never stood for one thing, ever, besides empowering these protesters on college campuses for some reason. But forget you hate Trump. Like, at least put up a Democratic candidate that's fine. Like, there were a handful of Democrats that if they had won the presidency, would have said, fine, I'll deal with it. Like, even Hillary Clinton, I would have been okay. But Kamala is your best person in the party that you could put up? You're joking.
Is it possible that maybe Israel is not in their top of priorities when they go and vote?
Is America not on their priority? Even Kamala is a bad choice. Kamala is a bad choice for America more than Israel. Israel would be gone, but that's besides the point. Kamala's not good for any country. Like, I was going through in my head, I said, okay, if Kamala wins, I can't move to Israel because Israel won't be safe. So where can I move? I started looking in the UAE for apartments because I was like, this is disastrous if she's the president. But why a Jew would not vote for Trump, I cannot give you one explanation. They can't say, oh, he doesn't support LGBTQ because he doesn't care. Can't say he doesn't support trans people because he does if you're over 18, which sounds normal. There's really, like he didn't ban abortion like everyone lied that he did. There's not one reason to hate him. You don't like his mouth? Okay, too bad. We don't need a nice president. We don't need a nice guy in the office. Is Iran nice? Is Russia nice? Is China nice? Is Hamas nice? You can't have a nice guy in office.
Yeah.
Or a guy who's sleeping like Biden. So I don't know.
Tell me about your activity in the UN.
Oh, that was fun. So this is actually a great story. I'm sitting in a Knicks game and I hear Hebrew and I'm like, wow, in America when you hear Hebrew, it's like, oh my God, mishpacha, And I hear someone speaking Hebrew and it's Gilad Erdan and his wife. And I didn't like really familiarize myself with them, but I exchanged numbers with Shlomit, his lovely wife. And that's it. I kept in touch with them. Shabbat Shalom here and there. I'm sitting in college and my classmate who was interning for Asaf Zamir, now he works actually in the White House. He said, Asaf needs a new person for social media. I think you should just consult him. Like, we're freshmen in college. So I said, yeah, I'll give him advice for free, whatever. As I'm about to sign up for, this is really mean, I'm sorry. As I was about to sign up for working with Asaf, my friend goes, don't you know Gilad Erdan? Why wouldn't you work for Gilad? I said, you know what? You're so right. Why don't I work for Gilad? So I texted them. I said, are you guys hiring? He said, not really, but you could come like work with us. And it was just that they took my application from Asaf. They gave it to Gilad. And they had a little rivalry going on. So it was good for them to fight over me. And I loved it. But I loved it and I hated it. it was also like a hard period for me because I was so young. I was still naive at the time. I really didn't know how much people hate Israel. So now it's over. I could share this story. I hope I could share the story. Gilad would always meet with the ambassadors. And I started in social media and I grew to speech writing and I just started becoming like an advisor in media. And he would meet ambassadors that were so nice to him. And the next day there's a vote and they always vote against us. He said, Gilad, how do you act so nice to them? Like, they're disgusting. They're backstabbers. They're traitors. Gilad is like, this is politics. Like, they're nice to your face. They send gifts to our mission and then they vote against us. So one guy, I really hope I don't get in trouble for this, it was Turkey. We met with the Turkish ambassador and like, it was okay. We weren't like best friends, but they weren't enemies. And what was I doing at the time? I was just tweeting a lot of bad stuff about Erdogan. And I get a call from a blocked number. And I was like, is this Emily? You need to stop tweeting about Turkey, blah, blah, blah. We're working with them in the UN. I said, you're not working with them because yesterday they voted no. Today they voted no. The next day, everything is neged Israel. Like, don't tell me they're working with us. And it turns out that because of me, Turkey got very upset. But anyway, they're voting against us. So I don't care if they're upset. But they got really, really upset. And then Gilad got a call from the minister. And Gilad's like, I'm with you. Like, they're against us. And to me, I was like, this is politics. It's so ugly. Like, they're such backstabbers. But it opened my eyes. I said, okay, this is how the world works. I can't make the rules. I need to just play the game. And it really taught me about like diplomacy because even the people who vote against us, like I saw that Gilad was so fierce and meeting with them and trying to change their mind and he doesn't take no for an answer. And it really inspired me. Gilad, first of all, he's a great speaker. I took a lot of like mental courses from him. And B, he's not afraid of anyone. Anyone. He'll sit with the worst ambassador. He'll sit right next to the Palestinian ambassador and he'll just fight him. And it taught me how to be like strong. Like there were times that I'm crying in the office and I'm like stress eating. And Gilad is so composed. I said, if I was him, I would have started screaming 10 minutes ago. So in the UN, I learned everything about Israeli politics in the UN.
Will you ever see yourself in politics?
American, not Israeli. I'd love to run for Congress. I'd love to do it sooner than later, for sure. And then work my way up the ladder, Congress. In New York, though, it's hard to be a senator.
So that's your new goal? Or
my
dream
goal,
that you still haven't accomplished?
That's something I haven't accomplished yet. I want to grow my media empire. I'm starting my own show. I'm going to stick with that for a couple years. And then when I'm a little more ripe, just run. In my district, I know I'd win in a heartbeat. But I want to move to Florida, so we'll see. We'll see where I run.
You want to move to a more pro-Israeli
not even
state?
Pro-Israel. Like when I'm in office, everybody knows where I stand. I'm pro-Israel, period. You're not convincing me otherwise. Yeah. But I love Florida. I don't know where I want to live yet. And I really, really love Florida. And I really love New York. And by the way, it's like black and white. Totally different cities. Yeah. But in one of them, I would love to run and just like serve the county. Love Miami. I love Long Island. And grow. And run for president. You know.
Amazing. Well, we're voting for you. That's for sure. Emily Yossin, I want to thank you so much for coming and for everything that you're doing for the Jewish people in the state of Israel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome.
Amazing.
Great.
You're incredible.
Thank you.